I'm going to share with you today is an old story. It has been told for generations, originating with the Ashanti people of West Africa. This story is of a mythical creature named Anansi, fashioned after the Ashanti spider god. He has the face of a man and the body of a spider, known for being a trickster, cunning, witty, and often described as lazy. But there are times when his cunning ways benefited everyone, and this is that such story. This story is called All Stories Belong to Anansi. Long ago, the world had no stories. All the stories belonged to Nyame, the sky god. Anansi wanted those stories. So he fashioned a web and went to seek an audience in front of the sky god. Nyame, he said, I seek your stories. The sky god replied, why would I give you my stories? Many have come before you and were unable to pay the price. Do you think you can pay the price? Anansi thought, yes, I can, he said. Well, you have to bring me three things. First, Onini, the python, who can swallow a goat whole. Two, Oezil, the leopard, whose teeth are as sharp as spears. And three, Moobo, the hornet, whose sting is like the needles of fire. And Nancy thought, I can do it. And off he went to come up with a plan. And Nancy went down to the earth and thought about it for the whole night. By the next morning, he had a plan. And Nancy walked through the forest with a long stick of bamboo, muttering to himself. He said, no, maybe, I'm not sure. Well, Onini was passing by and wondered, Anansi, why are you quarreling with yourself? And Nancy said, oh, I'm not quarreling with myself. I'm having a quarrel with my wife. She says that you are shorter than this bamboo stick and weaker. I say you are longer than this bamboo stick and stronger. But I don't know how to prove I'm right. That's easy, Onini said. Lay the stick down and I will lay beside it. So Anansi did. I can't quite tell, because when I think you are, you move your head. Let me tie you to the pole so that we can know for sure. Onini agreed, and Nancy spun a web and tied it around the tail, his body, his neck, and Onini's head, and a few other places while he was at it. Ah, Anansi said, she was right. You are shorter than the stick. But I was right too, because I got you. And Anansi picked up the bamboo stick and took it up to Nyame. You've got one. You have two more things to bring, Nyame said, and off Anansi went. Next, Anansi went on the path that Owezo passes every day when he is going to hunt, and Anansi dug a very big and deep hole. When he was done digging, he covered it with leaves and branches. When Anansi was satisfied, he went home to rest. And in the night, when Owezo was going to hunt, he came along the path, sleek and cunning, but fell inside the hole with a thud and waited till morning. In the morning, Anansi passed by and said, Owezo, how did you get down there? Ah, silly Anansi, I fell into the hole. Help me get out. Anansi thought for a moment. Will you eat me and my family? Owezo promised not to. So Anansi spotted a green tree and brought the branch all the way down and tied it on two sides. Then he spun a web and laid one end down the hole and said, tie this around your tail. And he tied the other end around the tree. When both ends were secured, Anansi cut the strings on both sides, and up sprang the tree to its original height. And Whistle flew out too, dangling and spinning. He was so dizzy. But that made it easy for Anansi to tie a web around all of his feet and a few other places and carry him to Nyame. Nyame said, You've got 2 items. There's one more thing for you to get. Anansi agreed, and off he went. This time, Anansi's plan was a little different. He plucked a gourd, carved out a hole, and cleaned it out, and then he poured water in it. Then he went to Morbo's nest, where he and his family lived. Anansi took the water, and he poured it on himself, and then he poured the rest on the nest, and stepped back. When Morbo and his family came out angry at all the water, Anansi stood there with a large leaf over his head. He said, "Oh, the rainy season has started early. What will you do? Your home is all wet." Anansi offered the gourd for Morbo and his family to stay in until the rain passes. Well, they all flew in, zoo, 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 one by one. And when the last one flew in, Anansi took the leaf and plucked the hole and spun a web to keep it sealed. And he brought the gourd up to Nyame. And Nyame said, "Anansi, what am I going to do with a gourd? I asked you to bring me the hornets." Anansi said, "Shake." When he shook, he could hear them zzz, 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 the buzzing of the angry hornet. "Ah," he said, "Anansi, where others have come and failed, you succeeded. You got all 3 things." Nyame took up the box and he said, "And now I declare that all the stories now belong to you, Anansi. And anyone who tells these stories must acknowledge that these are your stories." And he presented the box to Anansi. Well, Anansi took the box and came all the way down to earth, and he shared the stories with the people, who shared the stories with their children, and so on and so on and so on. And in Africa, they often tell spider stories. They've all heard these stories, and now I've shared one with you. Please share it too.